Hello, this is Kermit the Streamer, just about to do a Duskmourn House of Horror quick draft. Alright, we haven't played at all since last time we spoke. I went on a little trip to California, and I only just got back yesterday. So, there has not been much playing since last time I videoed. The Swarm Weaver, insect generator. That seems like a pretty good build around. So when you have delirium, your insects and spiders all get stronger. So that sounds pretty good. These rare lands are decent. I don't necessarily think they're high picks though. Vile Mutilator, I've seen this be okay. I would normally go 7 mana. That's not happening, but it does happen a lot. Trial of Agony is okay. You need to be in that deck, I think, before you make the commitment. Meat Locker's a good, solid card, especially if you're doing stuff with rooms. So is Underwater Tunnel, actually. Clockwork Percussionist is a really high-rated card, I think. Their Survivor's kind of trash, given the violence is alright. I'm going to take the highest upside card here, even though it does commit me to black-green. But the thing is, black-green's a decent color to be, I think, so. And there's other stuff that's worthy in here. It's just, this is the most interesting card in the pack. This is a quick draft, so it's less, the stakes are a little bit lower. And also, well, the funny thing is, I think generally speaking, the decks tend to be better because people get to really lean into the fact that the bots don't necessarily pick the best synergy cards, but there's still some benefit to getting those rares. Speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and craft my bonus copies of Swarm Reaver so I get some gems. This is a trick you can use to just make sure you always get some gems from a draft, even if you don't win. So we're going to craft all of these. That way, what happens is when I draft, when I get the get my copy of that extra rare from the draft, it'll get replaced with gems. This only works, of course, when you've got plenty of wild cards up here. But I mean, I'll often do that because then it mitigates the feel bad when you lose, and it's just a good thing to do. Also, I mean, you get closer to getting more wild cards when you have that when you have this tick up anyway, when the ball goes up. Winter's Intervention is great, but I do think Osseous Stake Twister is just an amazing card. We've already established at this moment that we want to be paying attention to our delirium. Threats around every corner is really good too. So is Oblivious Bookworm. Of course, not in the colors we're looking to try and tack towards. The Valgaboth Faithful would be good right here. Marvin's too weird. I mean, it's a 2-drop for 2, which is, I mean, it's fine. It's just not exciting. Cracked Skull, I don't know. This has been played against me, and it's always been pretty rough for me to deal with, but I still don't like it. Found Footage is great here because it gives you something else that you put in your graveyard. Plus the Surveil can lead to more things in your graveyard. So I think, although Valgaboth Faithful is fine, I think Found Footage helps advance our game plan a little bit better. So we'll take one of those. I don't know that we're looking to get a bunch of those, but it is a card that would be useful in multiples. Patchwork Beetle, Beastie. Patchwork Beastie. This seems like a fine card. 1-drop for 3 that does things when we have Delirium. It just sits on the board when we don't. It is an artifact creature, so it is 2 types. So if it gets milled or something, it's great because it'll get you halfway to Delirium on its very own. That's a good first card. Anthropede is fine. Cackling Slasher is fine. I don't think we've got the deck that wants that. Resurrected Cultist is fine. It's always a good card to self-mill. I think here the best card is Anthropede. Notice I'm not even paying attention to these red cards and other things at this point. This could be a bad plan for me to do that because you know I might miss the signal to switch to something like this Spear of Infinity here. This late Fear of Infinity could be a pull towards blue-black. Keys to the House would be fine. It does the helps us with the delirium thing. Fanatic of the Herring would be okay. Innocuous Rat I think is pretty swell, but it is meant for like a black-red sacrifice deck, I think, more than what we've got going so far. So I think I'm actually going to just speculate a little bit and take this Fear of Infinity. Probably doesn't end up in the final deck, but you know, if I happen to get some late game duels or something that are blue in color, then it's a fine card to have. Especially if I get some utility rooms like I don't think Derelict Addict's one of them. The one that reanimates, but I think that might be a black-white. Cryptid Inspector would be okay. Long Neck is actually pretty good because it's 2 types. This is a card that I was not impressed with in my set review, but it has just played really well. I don't really think it's a good card by itself. It's just one of those cards that ended up being really good in this format. The Duel is just the best pick here. It helps us out, smooths that meta base that we've got. So I am going to be looking, I think, at getting some blue utility rooms, maybe, you know, splashing just a little bit. Underwater Tunnel and Slimy Aquarium over Given to Violence. It's probably not correct, so I'm going to take the Given to Violence. I do think that there's a risk of milling yourself in this format, so having exactly 1 copy of Malevolent Chandelier could be good. If you end up milling it early, it gives you two card types in your graveyard. If you need it for a long, protracted game, then it helps you extend your library. So I think that's just an easy one-off here to have in my deck. A 4/4 flyer for 6 is actually pretty good too. It blocks well. It at least trades against some pretty high casting cost stuff. The Faithful would be good. I think I'm going to go ahead and take the Horde Vigor. It just seems to me that these limited sets these days, you want a little bit of protection, and cheap protection like this is pretty good. And you know, this does allow us to basically trade off against anything in combat and not lose that thing, whatever that thing may be. Fear the Dark, not thrilled about that, but it is 2 types. Cackling Stalker, okay. Probably gets cut if we need to cut things. Same with kind of Fanatic of the Harrowing. Although this does help you get your Delirium. Line of Hope, no, I don't think so. Where the Moth is interesting, that could pull us towards splashing white. Bashful Beastie is just a good card. Altenac here. Altenac is just a good card too. I think I'm just going to take the higher rarity card. Defiled Crypt. Oh, it is just a black land, or a black room. That's what I want right now. Let's take a look at everything else. Glimmerlight's okay. I don't think this is the deck for it. Branch Snapper's okay too, because you know it can help build you your Delirium while smoothing your lands. Fleshbearer is fine. It's definitely not the pick here. I'd say it's between these two. And I think I'm just going to take the room. I should see more Branch Snappers, and I do want to play 1 or 2. Don't think we need multiple copies of Altenac. So I'll take a second Long Neck. Although I guess if I was really serious about having blue as a splash color, you know, Meat Locker is worth mention here. But I don't think when I have at least a decent card in my colors, I should be splashing, or I should be pulling those splash cards. Cryptid Inspector's fine here. Balemark Leech is probably just better. I don't think that we really have like a, what's it called, manifest style deck at the moment. Still, it's not going to be bad to have one of these in our deck, but I think these Delirium decks, I do think that Terramorphic Expanse ends up being a pretty important card, because otherwise, other than straight mill, which we have none of yet, by the way, you have no way to get lands in your graveyard. We do with that Surveil, we do have some ways. I like the story of Sporogenic Infection. Basically, they're gonna have to sacrifice a thing. They get to choose, but whatever they keep has this little enchantment on it that means anytime it takes damage, it dies. The problem is things that just kill things in this format are often helping the opponent a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this Splash Enabler, because none of these cards are really critical. Fear of Lost Teeth is just a great one drop. I really do like Frantic Strength and Horde Vigor's okay. We already have one of those. I think I might take this room. Just seems like maybe Fear of Lost Teeth is just ever so much better though. We'll get one of those. And this is nice. We can either take the Spineseeker Centipede, which is a great card. Actually, I think that's just clearly it. The Murky Sewer would be fine here, but I think the fact that Spineseeker Centipede can find us an island if we need one means it's just better, and it does the Delirium thing, which we're definitely a Delirium deck, and a deck that wants to have Delirium, both Delirium payoffs and Delirium enablers. Sure, not happy about this, but taking a second Fanatic. Erratic Apparition. I don't think it's good here, but I don't want another Fear of the Dark. I'll take a Meat Locker. This is the reason I really like this card is it slows the game down on the left side, but then on the right side it gets you a refill. The fact that it's double blue makes it a little less reliable, but this is probably, this deck that I have here is going to be a deck that wants to go long game, and basically anytime you get a game that goes past turn 6, it's more than likely you're going to be able to do the Drowned Diner thing. It's just whether or not, given the board state, whether or not you're going to have the time to do that, and Meat Locker helps you with that, so it's a great card for that. Easy Balustrade Worm here, I think. I haven't even looked at the other cards yet. Yeah, I'd say probably Coordinated Clobbering would be the other one. Bashful Beastie is a good card, but you don't really need to first pick it, I don't think. This Land Cycler would be great too, but I've just been crushed by and crushed with this card, so it's going to be a thing that I really, when I see it, it's going to be a thing that I really want to pull my deck towards. We're just making sure here that we get our gems, so we're going to use 2 of our wild cards. See, I never really play constructed, so wild cards are just junk for me, so if I'm not doing this with them, I'm not getting full value out of them, because I don't, like I said, I don't build constructed decks most of the time, so it's just a easy win for me to just go ahead and rare draft. Unwilling Vessel is the kind of card that I like for this deck. Manifest Dread is just better. They get the best manifest in this sorcery spell, because almost all the other colors have a 3 mana or an enchantment that's 3 mana that does the thing. The only thing is, Manifesting Dread is way less good than getting a Spider. We've got a Spider Lord, basically. We've got a Spider/Insect Lord, too. So getting this 2-drop that does the thing for us, even if it is a little pricey. I mean, it's 8 mana to get your insects with this guy, but when you're doing the thing, when you've got the Delirium deck and you're actively pulling towards this game event, I would call it, this guy's just a house. Commune with evil, no. Final Vengeance, I think, is probably a good thing. It helps us fill up our graveyard, and it gets rid of something important. And the cool thing about it is we're exiling theirs. We're sacrificing one of our things, filling up our graveyard, and denying them the ability to do that, and getting rid of something important on the table. So it's just easy card. You know, it is slightly geared more towards black-red, being the sacrifice deck, but it's a utility card that works in whatever deck you're playing. I love Attack in the Box, but it's not the card here. Although it might be, actually. Yeah, I think it actually is, because there's nothing else that's really good for us. We already have 2 of these Fanatics. We don't need to fill up our deck with 4-drops. Friendly Teddy might actually be good. I wonder. I'm going to go ahead and try Friendly Teddy. This undercosted 2-drop that fills up our graveyard with 2 types and also gives both players a little bit of a nudge forward in their graveyard, in their deck. It's just, this is a kind of risky card, you know, kind of like Howling Mine back in the day. Like, it's one of those things where if their deck is just better than yours, you're actually making them, you're giving them the chance to outperform. I do think a second Fear of Infinity is better than anything else here. I just can't bring myself to really play that enchantment, Cracked Skull. Even though it's been used well against me, it's just not my kind of card. Winter's Intervention would be welcome here. We really don't have anything that deals with early game. It's hard to not get this Spectral Snatcher, though. It's just a really good card. If you get to cast it, it's amazing. And when you're doing the Delirium thing that we are doing, the Swamp Cycling is welcome. Just, I don't think we have the Reanimation package to make that be the better pick. Yeah, sure, 1 copy of Withering Torment, fine. It basically kills everything. You do have to pay that life. You have no way around it. But when it's worth it, you'll gladly do that. Cathartic Parting. I like that. It takes away our Delirium, but it does allow us to recycle some things that could be really useful. Sure. So it's either Battle Beastie or Spectral Snatcher. That's actually a difficult pick. I think the ratings on Beastie, though, on 17 lands make it kind of the better pick in that particular vacuum. We'll get another duel. I don't know at this point if we're going to actually be able to splash. We didn't really get a lot of rooms. I'll go ahead and take this Megalodon here. Get a Horde Vigor. We've got quite a few cuts to make. We got our late Cracked Skull. Don't make a sound. I don't think, even though in previous sets, especially recent sets, these cards have performed well, I don't think this is the block where Don't Make a Sound works. The reason why I say that is because there's a lot of on-board stuff going on, like being able to flip your manifests or doing other things, or being able to open doors. Like, you can't counter a door open, at least not with that card. Lots of cuts to make. I do think we want enchantments. We've got some good enchantment, like eerie stuff with the Belmark Leech, and you know, a lot of our enchantments are also creatures, so that's important. We really only have the 1 reanimation spell, I think. So I think Altanek is probably a thing. We don't really get to do its other ability, and I think it's a big ask for us to get to 7 mana. I think I'm going to take out the Chandelier because we don't have a huge amount of like, well, we don't really have any mill. We do have a little bit of surveil, but no mill. I think Anthropede actually, oh, it's an insect though. Yeah, maybe our fanatic goes away. We don't really want that. It does help us get our graveyard filled, but it's just too expensive. I can see a game where we're behind, where this doesn't help us. Oh, I didn't even realize the Fear of Infinity is one of these enchantment creatures. All the nightmares are actually enchantment creatures, as far as I know. One less Horde Vigor. Final Vengeance is critical, I think. I don't know that we have anything that's like really important to use Give Into Violence on. That's gonna come back to haunt me. I'm gonna in my mind every time I do go into combat, I'm gonna be like, oh boy, Give Into Violence. That could have been a thing. Cracked Skull we're taking out. Withering Torrent. I'm wondering if I need to have 2 copies of Grasping Longneck. It's an enchantment. I don't think I'm actually gonna do the unthinkable here and get rid of Bashful Beastie. Maybe I shouldn't be doing the splash thing, but I think I like it. I didn't get any land cycler, so I'm not gonna mess with my land count. I want to keep that at 17. That's really the only way. Oh, I did get the 1 land cycler, but I really like to have 2 before I start thinking, oh, it's going to be good to cut lands, because otherwise I just don't think it is. It seems like 1 copy of Cathartic Parting is really good. Like, it's a May on shuffling my stuff, so when I have Delirium and I need Delirium, I don't have to do that part. But being able to remove one of their key pieces at a time when it really matters, I think is really important. Plus, goodness gracious, that is lovely art. I guess that's Nashi and Tamio there. That is really, really good art. I love everything about it. I love when they bring back to things from like other sets, and you know, Nashi is definitely a character that kind of makes sense in both the Bloom Burrow and the newer version of the Japanese themed. I forget what they call it. Kamigawa. Okay, so these last 3 cuts, very difficult. Well, I hate to say it, but I think it's got to be the Friendly Teddy. I wonder if Fear of Infinity is going to even be impactful. We've only got 3 rooms. Take that back. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Fear of Infinity leaving. Because it's going to be under the wire to cast it. It's not that impactful. It being a card that comes back, like if I had Mill, I would be less inclined to get rid of this card. And I think I'm just going to run with the 41. With my 1 being found footage. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and run with that. What's that time? Oh dear. I gotta go. We'll play these matches later. Let's give this deck a name. What are we gonna call it? A beast with many legs. The whole thing is we've got spiders, we've got insects, we've got the insect spider lord, and we're trying to run for Delirium. So there we go. We got our deck. Let me make sure I made a copy of it. And hopefully, yeah, we'll play these matches later, and hopefully it goes well. Thanks for joining me. I'm Kermit the Streamer. Have a great day.